Hey guys, and welcome back for the final day of the HellfireComms Ghiblithon. Where's the time gone? Honestly, movie 22. I'm just speechless how fast this year has flown by, honestly. But before I allow the shock to overwhelm me, let's get right on into it and start the final movie commentary of the HellfireComms Ghiblithon with When Marnie Was There, a film I have no idea about. I don't even know what the concept, the conceit is, what the story's about. For all I know, it could be a friggin' Spirited Away sequel, but I guess we'll see once we get into it. So, if you guys need help syncing our commentary to your video file, check the video description for some instructions. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Hokey cokey, When Marnie Was There. Richie, what the hell?
So, When Marnie Was There came out in 2014, directed by Hiromasa Yonebayashi, who you should remember from Arrietty.
Oh.
And he also then went on to direct Mary and the Witch's Flower, so I think he's effectively an up-and-comer in terms of the animation world in directing, although he's 44, so he's not really a major up-and-comer, but he's gotten into his directing scheme more so as of late. It was his last film before he left Ghibli, and obviously it's the last film that Ghibli have effectively made until Miyazaki's final massive air quotation marks film comes out.
I was just saying to myself as I was bringing up some tea, people have to go through a grieving process every time he decides to retire, because that's it. No more Ghibli until the next time there is more Ghibli.
Pretty much, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But I think the one thing that I am really grateful for is, I mentioned it, I think, in The Wind Rises and Kaguya, that when I found out that Ghibli was closing, well, or at least going on a hiatus, after Kaguya, I was concerned that When Marnie Was There was going to be the last one, because it was just I don't know how this is going to turn out. And there was a sort of level of apprehension, because there's always the idea of, if something ends, you want it to go out on a high. You don't want it to end on a sort of a low note.
Yeah.
But I have to say, while When Marnie Was There isn't of the same level as, say, Kaguya, or The Wind Rises, or Spirited Away, House Moving Castle, etc., it's still a really good movie, and I would say it's pretty much on par with Arrietty.
Oh, yes.
I think Yonebayashi has a very consistent level in terms of the films he's directed. I obviously can't speak of Mary and the Witch's Flower, but I would assume that would probably be in the same sort of realm. When Marnie Was There itself is based on the novel of the same name by Joan G. Robinson. The only difference, or at least key difference anyway, is that it transposes the setting from Norfolk, England to Hokkaido, Japan. But I would say that's fine. It's nothing particularly horrifying, and it works, and it's just a really lovely film.
So who's this here? Our protagonist, I assume?
Yes, so this is our protagonist, Anna, and she is voiced by Haley Steinfeld, who most people will recognise for being a musician in her own right, but also for being Emily Junk in the Pitch Perfect franchise, as well as being Matty Ross in True Grit, and then being in other various roles across films, but Pitch Perfect and her music career where most people would recognise her from.
Right.
And she's really good in this. Her mother, I believe, is Yoriko Sasaki, who, at least I think that's her, and she is voiced by Gina Davis,
who
most people would remember as being the mother in Stuart Little, along with, obviously, the rest of her amazing career in films like Beetlejuice, Thelma and Louise, etc.
I would have started with Beetlejuice, because that's a fucking awesome film.
Yeah, I've never seen Beetlejuice. Partly feels bad about that, but that's just one of those things.
exposition. It lets us know what's going on in the world of Ghibli.
And also, you do need to get a bit of information about everything that's going on, because obviously Marnie's a very... Not Marnie, Anna. We'll meet Marnie eventually. But Anna's a very insular person, very introverted, and it's very unfortunate.
Is that due to some kind of illness?
Sort of. So she's got asthma.
Right.
But also she's living with foster parents. I think that she knows that she's fostered, and there's that sort of bit of her that's missing, of where do I come from? And there's also, I think, the whole thing of, because she's introverted, she gets very nervous around people she doesn't know. She likes to just sit and draw, and that's what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
The idea about this is that they're sending her to Yoriko's relatives in a rural seaside town which is located somewhere between Koshiro and Nemuro. The idea being the air is clearer, so that'll help with her asthma.
Wow, this really is like Arrietty then.
Yes, but it goes on a very different bent. I mean, I remember hearing some of the elements of the film, and while some of the things that I think the film's known for do sort of exist, there's a whole, perhaps, implication of lesbianism, I'm not sure.
Right.
But there's an underlying thread that sort of feels like it might be referring to that, but probably isn't, that I know that quite a lot of people picked up on when watching it, but I'll let you judge for yourself.
I haven't spoiled a twist there or anything.
Oh no, I really have not spoiled a twist there. If I'd said any more about that sort of thread, then I might have spoiled a twist.
Richie.
But I certainly haven't.
Richie, stop while you're ahead, mate. Come on now. So who are her foster parents played by?
So these are Setsu and Kiyomasa Oiwa. Setsu Oiwa is voiced by Grey Griffin, or Grey Delisle, as she's also known, who obviously, she's a very prolific voice actress.
Yeah, don't read off all her roles and we'll be here for the rest of the movie.
I won't do all of them, but I will say Vicky from Fairly Odd Parents, Sam from Danny Phantom, Mandy from Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Frankie Foster and many others in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Kimiko in Challenge Showdown, Daphne in Scooby-Doo, and also Jean in the Bayonetta franchise.
Yeah, can I just say R.I.P. to one of the older Daphne voice actors.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I've forgotten her name, but she passed away recently. And if you think of Daphne, and you're a fan of the classic Scooby-Doo films, you'll most likely have heard her before, so...
So I believe that was... I'm just double-checking. Yes, Heather North. And then Kiyomasa is voiced by the awesome John C. Reilly, who's obviously been in many, many things.
I'm gonna
wreck it! A lot of people would
it!
recognise his voice for being, yes, Wreck-It Ralph. He's also in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's also in Chicago. And, yeah, he's been in so many things. And he's just awesome in everything that he's in as well. So they did get a very good cast in for this one, I have to say.
I gotta say, we were discussing the concept of Ghibli Easter eggs in a previous commentary, and I noticed right away that there is A, a broomstick, and B, a Tanuki figure in the car.
Yeah, those are perhaps little Easter eggs referencing Pompoko and Kiki's Delivery Service, but I'm not sure. I think it's just that's what they're bringing home with them.
I'm not sure about this house. On the thumbnail, which is about all the context I have for the film, there was a very different house, so maybe perhaps there'll be shenanigans, location shenanigans upcoming.
No. Well, so there is a house which is very, 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 very important to the plot of this film. This is not that house.
Knew it. It's actually not bad in a rustic kind of way.
Oh yeah, it's a really charming little house. I would happily live here. Part of me would be slightly concerned about the woodenness of it, because I'd be like going, oh my god, it's going to set on fire and I'm going to die. But apart from that, it's really lovely.
This room's pretty aesthetic.
Yes, it is indeed aesthetically pleasing.
Shut the F up, okay?
You will not make aesthetic a thing, Tom.
Oh, bless your ignorance. Mystery letters. UK represent! It's weird how they don't subtitle these letters and whatnot, but then again, we are watching whatever copy we can find, and maybe they're just not hard-coded.
I think it's probably because they don't necessarily need to be, because they're effectively blank postcards on which Anna's mother wants her to write stuff back to her to say how it's all going. Oh, just look at that view.
I know, right? I'm getting a bit of, I always go back to Leighton during these Ghibli comms for some reason, but, what is the name of the town in, Spectre's Call? Is it Saint...
Mistallery.
That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get a full Mistallery sense, but I do sort of get that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the granary around the lake and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, it's the lake that's really doing that for you, really, isn't it?
I like Spectre's Call a lot. Like, they may have, maybe missed a trick by not going straight into 3D and keeping it on the 2DS, which makes the prequel trilogy feel a bit lopsided, but, I love it. I love that game.
It's okay.
You're lucky I can't slap you through the computer, Mr. Pessimist.
It's not that I don't like Spectre's Call, it's just that I don't like it as much as any of the games in the prequel trilogy or Azran Legacy, so...
Shortcut to what? I wasn't paying attention.
Postbox.
Ah. That'll teach me for talking about Leighton as I was talking about Ghibli. Oh, we're so close to Christmas at the time of us recording this. It's the 22nd. Just to date the recording process. But I got a copy of Lady Leighton waiting for me, and I'm ready to talk into that.
Oh, I think you'll enjoy Leighton's Mystery Journey, Catriel and the Millionaire's Conspiracy. Really long-winded title, but...
it just doesn't end, that title.
No, but it works, and I will say, it's a charming, charming game with, like, Catriel is a really fun character, as are Shell and... I can't remember the name of the other guy. Oh my god.
It's fine. It's not important.
It is because he's a main character.
So I guess she's the type of person Anna is when she sees someone coming down the street. Very graceful, by the way. She just walks the other way.
Pretty much. It's just like Anna just doesn't like dealing with people so much.
That's okay. I like the true introvert, the one who's not like snarky and whatnot.
Yeah. And there is the house that is very plot important.
I'm liking the tone of the film so far.
Yeah, it's got a really nice tone. It's very melancholy, but it works so well. And actually, sort of, that follows through into the movie's theme song. I don't think we're going to hear it until the credits.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a really beautiful song. It's called Fine on the Outside. And it's sung by American recording artist and musician Priscilla Arn. It's a really beautiful, melancholy song. And what's quite fascinating is that Priscilla Arn, in common with the protagonist of When Marnie Was There, saw herself as friendless and alone when she was younger, and turned to music and other interests as a way to compensate. She's quoted as saying she would literally sit on my bed and look out the window at night at the moon and wonder if I was loved, if anyone would miss me if I was gone. Which led to her writing the song in 2005, but she never released it due to the lyrics being too personal, and because she didn't want to change the song in any way to make it fit in with her other albums. As a big fan of Ghibli, she read the original novel When Marnie Was There after they announced they were doing a movie adaptation of it, and very much saw herself in Anna, and eventually decided to submit the song to Ghibli. And the movie's producer, Yoshiaki Nishimura, contacted her very soon afterwards saying how much he loved it, and it was then chosen as the official theme song. Which, that's just a wonderful, wonderful little story.
Yeah, very similar story again to the composer of Ariete.
Oh, definitely. And what's also really lovely is that she then also wrote an entire album inspired by When Marnie Was There, which was then released pretty much, I think, alongside the film. So you've got songs called Deep Inside My Heart, Pretty Dress, I See You, Marnie, This Old House With You, You're a Star, Waltzing Memories, and I'm Not Alone. And I'm sure that those are all pretty beautiful songs as well. It's not a case of Priscilla Arn being the primary composer for the film. No, that is done by Takatsugu Muramatsu, but the main theme is done by Priscilla Arn, and, I mean, just in general, the entire soundtrack is lovely.
Huh. How did he know Anna would be here at this time?
I think it's more he spotted her.
It doesn't say much, does it?
No, he really doesn't.
Oh. Very interesting. Yeah, this really is Leonidas. What the hell?
I'm sure we'll find out more of what's going on there at some point.
I like that. They're not mad that she's been gone for so long. They're just being supportive.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, what else can you do? It's just like, I mean, I know she's 12 and they probably should be keeping somewhat of an eye on her, but she's at that sort of age where you want to begin to let kids explore. Also, part of the reason that she's come here is to get away from her mother and the kind of cloying atmosphere, because I think Yoriko, her foster mother, is very, very protective. So much so that I think Anna's kind of taken on board a lot of that stress and tension.
Yeah.
And so this is also a chance to just sort of let go, almost.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, mate. Well then, the mystery doth thicken.
Indeed it does.
I like the framing with the house lit up in the background, by the way.
I know, it's a nice bit of, how shall I put it?
Foreshadowing?
More, it's a nice bit of the mise en scène, and tying it together to the house on the marsh.
This is a really good-looking movie.
Oh, it is. It's really gorgeous. And I think one of the things that it's just unfortunate for When Marnie Was There is just that it does follow Wind Rises and The Tale of Princess Kaguya, which are obviously two films that knock it out of the park and by Ghibli's two biggest directors.
Yeah.
Because actually, when Marnie was there, I would say, had it come out in sort of more of the middling bits of Ghibli, where they were going through a bit more experimental phase, I think it could have stood out even more and been perhaps received even greater than it has been.
Uh-huh.
If only because you've not got that immediate comparison to the two films that have just come.
I mean, yeah, it's always going to be compared to what came before. We've discussed human behaviour before, not to get all psychological on you guys, but we group things, we compare things. So you can take it as its own beast, but you're always going to be subconsciously comparing it with, like, what came before. And in the case of Tales from Earthsea, I don't really care. It was bad in its own right, you know. To say that it was bad because it followed Howl's Moving Castle is to say nothing of how poorly it was made.
Well, yeah, there is that, but it's one of those things of when something is good and it follows something that just happens to be better, it's just unfortunate because some people, anyway, do tend to see them in a more negative context because they do that comparison, even though they perhaps shouldn't do.
So yeah, just to let you guys know that we are paying attention, there was a blonde girl having her hair combed or groomed by an old woman in that mansion in Marnie's, well, no, in Anna's dream, I should say. Shit, now I'm getting it confused. What does it mean? What does it mean?
Well, your slip-up basically proves that effectively, yeah, that girl is most likely the Marnie of the title because, of course, she's on the bloody poster.
Well, I haven't seen the poster, so there you go.
Have you not?
No, I told you, this is the Ghibli film I knew the least about.
Well, that's fair enough. I should point out, since we now know his name, Tuichi, he's not going to say much, because that's just the type of person he is, but he's voiced by Fred Tattershaw.
Ah, okay.
Who obviously has done so many voices for so many things. Like, he's voiced the Hulk in things, he's been in many films, many adaptations, many video games. I mean, I'm pretty sure he is... So yeah, he's Dr. Shake and Randall Lovikov in No More Heroes. He is Bane in Batman Arkham Asylum. I think he's also done the voice of Ares in the God of War franchise.
Ares!
He is also... What I'm waiting for now is I'm just trying to get to the bottom of the list where I know that I'm going to see... Oh yes, he's the voice of Valiant in Bayonetta 2, James Shiragane and Chugi in The Wonderful 101. Yeah, he's just everywhere, and he is awesome.
Oh, by the way, guys, Bayonetta 1 and Wonderful 101 playthroughs confirmed for 2018. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it makes me so happy.
Well, there you go, mate. You can decide which one you want to do first. I'll just show up and record.
It'll probably end up being Bayonetta Switch first, if only because they haven't said they're doing the Wonderful 101 Switch yet, and I just want to make sure that if they do that, then I get it and do that version. But we'll see what happens.
Our first playthrough in 2018 is actually going to be Kirby's Epic Yarn, because that got moved back.
Well, technically our first one will be Super Mario Odyssey, but that's with Flame. But the first one of just us two, yes, indeed, will be Kirby's Epic Yarn. And that should be quite fun, because it's just such a cute game. I remember, I think we started recording the commentary for it, and then it was just like, this ain't getting done. Yeah,
we've done 3 out of about 18 parts so far at the time of this recording, and yeah, we just couldn't balance it along with doing Ghibli, so we figured we'd just put it on the back burner. It'll come back in February along with a Doom playthrough, and it's all good. Who is this?
She is a mysterious older lady.
Oh, it's a paint-off you want, is it? I'll sketch the shit out of that house. What a cosy little village, place, mini-town.
I know, it really is lovely.
This person's a bit of a nosy Parker.
She is indeed, yes.
Oh no, she's entered the dream dimension. Again.
Yeah, she's going to be dreaming quite a lot throughout this film, I feel.
I like how the little tufts of grass are each like their own little island.
Oh, definitely.
I'm just always combing hair. No one has time for Granny anymore. Enough! Oh man. You'd think as a painter I'd have more interesting dreams, but hey ho.
Well, you see, it's one of those slow burner dreams where you get a tiny piece of information each time you go through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a good job they moved this from Norfolk, because I don't think this would regionally make sense.
No, this definitely would not make sense in Norfolk.
So is this what, the Japanese version of Halloween or something?
So, this is the Tanabata Festival. So, Tanabata is also known as the Star Festival in Japan, and it originates from the Chinese Zishi Festival. It celebrates the meeting of the deities Orihime and Hikoboshi, represented by the stars Vega and Altair, respectively. According to legend, the Milky Way separates these lovers, and they are allowed to meet only once a year on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month of the lunar solar calendar. The date of Tanabata varies by the region of the country, but the first festivities begin on the 7th of July of the Gregorian calendar, and the celebration is held at various days between July and August. It was introduced to Japan by Empress Koken in 755, originating from the festival to plead for skills, which is that alternate name for Zishi, or however you pronounce it.
Right.
And was also adopted in the Kyoto Imperial Palace from the Heian period, and then gained widespread popularity, and basically everyone goes through with it.
So now that she's had more of a speaking role, who is this busybody that's trying to make friends with Anna?
So I believe that this is Nobuko. I think, anyway. And she is voiced by Rainy Rodriguez, who I don't really know of, but she's more of a new actress in the grand scheme of things. So she's best known as being Trish in the Disney series Austin and Ally, Maya Blart in the films Paul Blart Mall Cop and Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Jesus!
Yep. She's also the voice of... Yeah, now it's not really going to help much. She's also done a couple of songs, although it seems to be the big one was from Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3, Viva la Fiesta. So she's not really been in anything hugely major, but there we go.
Wow, what a cunt that fat pig is.
That's certainly one thing to call her, yes, and you would be mostly accurate. She's just like a really awful busybody.
They obviously made her fat to justify her being a pretty shitty character. That's how it works in anime tropes.
Yeah, that's true.
And I can say that as a fat lad, so it really isn't a case of the pot calling the kettle black. Well, I mean, it is, but I'm just acknowledging it.
It would be a case of the pot calling the kettle black, because it's a fat man calling a person fat, so yes, pot kettle black. But moving on.
I don't know if I'd call Anna ugly or stupid, honestly.
Definitely not, but obviously that's the way she sees herself. Because obviously she has very, very low self-esteem.
Oh, that doll looks very familiar.
Yes.
I take it also, just going back a little bit, you're not supposed to read people's wishes before they put on the tree?
Yeah, that's kind of a bit taboo. I think it's generally the whole thing of whenever you're tying wishes to trees, the whole thing is you don't read someone else's wish.
Right.
Because it's considered bad luck. But yeah, so what generally happens in present-day Japan is that people celebrate the day by writing the wishes, sometimes in the form of poetry, on tanzaku, which are small pieces of paper, and then hanging them on bamboo, sometimes with other decorations.
Right.
And the bamboo and decorations are often set afloat on a river or burned after the festival around midnight or on the next day. It resembles the custom of floating paper ships and candles on rivers during Obon. Many areas have their own Tanabata customs, which are then mostly actually related to their local Obon traditions. And I feel I should just point out that Obon is the custom or festival of honouring the spirits of one's ancestors. And there's also a traditional Tanabata song, which is Sasa no ha sara sara no kiba ni yureru ohoshi sama kira kira kingin sunago goshiki no tanzaku watashi ga kaita ohoshi sama kira kira sora kara miteru, which translates to the bamboo leaves rustle, shaking away in the leaves, the stars twinkle on the gold and the silver grains of sand. The 5-colour paper strips I have already written, the stars twinkle, they watch us from heaven.
I'm confused as to whether this girl actually exists or not, because Anna, in the flashback, had a doll that looked exactly like her.
I can neither confirm or deny anything.
Use a buster, mate, and your subtlety has not improved a jot.
Now you see, my subtlety has actually improved, because you have no idea what that actually means.
Very true, very true.
But what I should point out is that this is quite obviously Marnie, and she is voiced by Kiernan Shipka, who is most well known for being Sally Draper in Mad Men, and I would also say Jinora in The Legend of Korra.
Oh, I was just watching one of Blind Wave's reactions to Legend of Korra earlier, and it was the original Airbenders episode in Season 3 as well.
So that is, that's who voices Marnie, and I think she did an excellent job.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see what you mentioned towards the start of the film.
Yeah, there's a slight undertone that goes along here, which is, I'm not quite sure why it's here. I'm not sure if it's exactly intended in this manner. But you see what you see in films.
Well. You want me to ruin this movie completely for you?
Go on then.
You know who, Marnie reminds me of?
Who?
Maria from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh!
Alright, you can stop mocking me with fake laughter now.
Oh my god. Oh, Tom, why must you do this to me?
Because I love our recording sessions together, mate. It's so much fun. So what I'm interested in is, why, when Anna first looked in the house, did it seem like no one had lived there in decades, yet the place is very clearly lit up now?
I don't know. That's going to be your answer to that. I really don't know.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there now. I think I may have already solved the plot twist. It's when Marnie was there, not Marnie is there. So maybe it's just a ripple of the past or something. I'm just guessing, don't tell me, don't even intimate anything.
Yeah, I won't intimate a thing.
Okay, that was good. You were like a brick wall there. I couldn't discern any secrets between the cracks. Well, at least they get along pretty well.
Oh, definitely.
I'll tell everyone. I'll write it on a thing, on a card, and then show it.
Well, and I'll definitely try and keep it a secret. It's just whether Nobuko will get a bloody nose in on it.
Ugh. I hope she goes through a character arc, that person, because I already don't like her.
If I recall correctly, she sort of doesn't really go through that major of a character arc. She's always a bit of a cowbag.
Ooh, that's rare for a Ghibli film. Yeah. They're not going to be very pleased, I think.
I don't think that's going to matter. I think they're more concerned probably going to be that she's back so late and just going, oh, thank God you're all right.
Okay, I was actually speaking over. I didn't realise Anna called her the same thing I did. What? I hate this secondary character.
Yes, I know. I believe that this is Mrs. Kadoya, her mother, and yeah, she's awful. But she's voiced quite brilliantly by Kathy Bates, who is obviously another brilliant actress who most people would recognise for being in Misery.
Yes, yes.
She's also Molly Brown in Titanic. She's also had she's been in numerous roles throughout American Horror Story, and is just generally pretty awesome.
Yeah. Hope not.
I don't really want
Jeez.
to make up with her because she's kind of a bitch. Well, no, it was quite funny because she totally deserved it.
I would only call a person a pig if they act like one, and that goes for manners, not just shoving food in your mouth, because who doesn't like food?
Well, exactly, yes, and also it is entirely about manners because you can be a larger person and be a perfectly pleasant person, and those people are never deserving of being called pigs. That's when it gets rude and insulting. When they actually act like they don't give a shit about people, they will just fling insults like there's no tomorrow, then it's just like, yeah, you are basically a pig because all you do is roll around in shit.
Yeah, I kind of straddle the line, really. I like to keep you guessing. What stuck out most for me, though, is El Fato Pigo. Yeah, she didn't really deserve to be called by a proper name. Actually said that Anna pulled a knife on her, which was complete bullshit.
Well, exactly. You see, the reason that she did that is because she was trying to hide the fact that she was the one who caused Anna to bite back by insulting her and by looking at her wish that she'd put him down and just going, yeah, you're weird.
Okay. Well, isn't this pleasant? You're not going to pretend that I pulled like a gun on you or anything, are you?
No, I don't think she would do. I have the feeling that her parents might think, oh my god, our daughter's been kidnapped, but that's a separate kettle of fish.
Right. How did Tumblr take to this movie when it first came out?
Um, Let's see if I can find out.
Yeah, Tumblr reviews when Marnie was there, and I'm just saying, because stereotypically, and I am generalising here, so I do apologise, but I'm trying to make a point, that a lot of LBGT, is it Q at the end?
LGBTQI+, I think. Or it might be LGBTQIA+, I think.
They've updated it since I last checked, but yeah, a lot of shipping stuff goes around there, which there's some good art for certain things, honestly.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I think Tumblr quite liked it from the looks of things, and I think that's mostly because it is just it's just a nice, lovely film, and there is that sort of potential LGBTQIA+ undertone. There's perhaps a slight awkwardness associated with it, which will come to be understood later on in the film. But yeah, well, on Tumblr there is actually a list of Ghibli movies according to the internet. Which I feel actually would be quite good to run through here, because they are, I think, very accurate. So, My Neighbor Totoro, first ever Ghibli movie. Obviously it's not, but that's how the internet reacts. Spirited Away, second first ever Ghibli movie.
Yes, that's so true.
Princess Mononoke, Scary Dear Jesus.
Yep.
Pompoko, Balls.
Yep.
The Cat Returns, Everyone's Unexpected Furry Awakening.
Yeah, very true.
From Up on Poppy Hill, You May Be My Brother, But I Totally Do You. Ponyo, The Little Mermaid Book with Kindergartners.
That's insulting The Little Mermaid, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Grave of the Fireflies, greatest movie ever made that you'll never watch again.
Yeah, true actually, yeah.
Only Yesterday, I disagree with this one, but still. Greatest Ghibli movie ever made that barely anyone has ever watched. Just kidding, best ending ever.
Not really, in any case.
Not really with that one. Either way, Whisper of the Heart, I Wish My Teenage Life Was This Idyllic.
Yeah.
Kiki's Delivery Service, Too Many Bloomer Shots.
I mean, technically true, but...
Yeah. Laputa Castle in the Sky, Falling from Terrifying Heights, the movie.
Selling it short, but yeah.
Yeah. Howl's Moving Castle, the one with the hot by Shunen.
Really selling it short, but yeah.
And Tale of Princess Kaguya, fucking moon people.
Totally true. Oh my god, what's happening? Marnie! Marnie!
I would say the one which is for when Marnie was there, but it would be an entirely major spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
I will, however, go into it when we actually get to the end of the film, and you actually know what the spoiler is.
I think we'll do a sum-up of all the movies we've covered at the end, so expect this one to run just a teeny bit longer than the other commentaries.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Marnie seeing through the eyes of Anna, or Marnie allowing Anna to see through her mind's eye? And Marnie? Where'd you go, Marnie?
I don't bloody know. It doesn't really make the huge amount of sense. And at least Anna was there to comfort her.
Mm-hmm. I can really hear Janora, and it's super distracting me now.
I shouldn't have mentioned it, but it's these types of bits of information that you do need to know when you're looking at films and watching films, because then you're just like, I know that voice. Where do I know that voice from? And then sometimes you just need to know that thing, although it does sort of mess you over a little bit in certain situations, like Les Mis. Because obviously Hugh Jackman is Javert, but everyone mostly knows him as Wolverine. You've got Anne Hathaway, who everyone knows as Catwoman.
Yeah.
It just goes and goes and goes like that, and you're just like, good lord, this is like the weirdest crossover ever.
I wonder how often they're able to hold these types of parties at this scale. Marty's parents must be very well to do.
I would say yes, they probably are.
Kawaii as fuck. God, now we're gonna really see the true anime interpretation of an introvert at a party, aren't we?
Yes, pretty much. But also, this is Nanny, who is voiced by Ellen Burstyn. Most people would recognise from, I'm just about to try and get the name of her character in it, as Chris McNeil in The Exorcist. She's also Loris Farrow in The Last Picture Show, Doris in Same Time Next Year, Edna Mae Macaulay in Resurrection, Sarah Goldfarb in Requiem for a Dream, and yeah, she's another person with a very long and storied career.
Yeah, another connection to Arietti, someone being locked inside a room.
Clearly, Yunobayashi has a few little quirks, shall we say.
Yeah, quirk was the exact word. Did you use the Marnie vision on me as well?
Don't know, but hopefully not.
Here we go then. It's one thing to be an introvert invited to a party, but to have all eyes on you, that's something completely different. Oh shit.
Oh, the burn.
They don't pay for it yourself. Look at the jewels you're wearing.
I know. Now, I believe that Marnie's mother is voiced by Kari Walgren, who obviously we've heard before, and her father is voiced by Eric Borza, who is Drift in some Transformer stuff. He's also does the Beagle Brothers in the new DuckTales. He's also either the new or always has been the voice of Woody Woodpecker. And yeah, he's then done a lot of other roles over the years.
I know, we'll remember that. It's Ribena. Enjoy.
Yeah, hope he's not trying to get her drunk. Because that would be really bad and inappropriate.
Okay, that was really weirdly framed, because I heard the accordion music, but he was, slightly concealed. So it sounded like the music was coming out of, the cello or whatever.
Yeah, well, obviously it was not, and that was actually wine. I think because it may or may not perhaps be that day and age where that's sort of totally fine to do.
friend, is it?
Since he's been given a name, Kazuhiko is voiced by James C. or CA. Not quite sure how you pronounce it, but either way. He's the voice of Monkey in the Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness TV series.
Oh, Jackie from Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yes! So, yeah, I think he is effectively Jackie Chan's voice double in things where they need a slightly younger sounding person who could be Jackie Chan.
I mean, it's getting pretty overt at this point, mate. I don't know what you're talking about, like, people misinterpreting it, incorrectly.
Well, yeah, it is pretty overt. It's just, yeah.
Like, people will... I can't believe I said misinterpret incorrectly. It was interpret incorrectly, Tom, come on. But people read into things a lot, and I'm just going to put it out there, going back to Steven Universe for a second. Lapidot doesn't make sense. They never showed any romantic feelings towards each other. Fuck! Anyway, but yeah, people will read in, to things, they'll see whatever they want to see, but here it's just... It's blatant, and it's sweet. It's well done, I think.
Yes.
I'm the moon. Nice to see you. Alright, what have we got going on here? Anna? Are you okay? Oh, thank fuck for that. I was getting worried for a second.
Yeah, that could have ended really badly.
Thought Marnie was taking it on the lesbian dance of doom for a second.
No, it's a melancholy film, but it's certainly not that type of melancholy film.
Could really go for a poached egg right about now.
I mean, that's a fried egg, but still.
Whatever. What's the difference between poached and fried besides a little bit of crispiness, let's be honest, dude?
Quite a lot.
Alright, we don't need the definition of a poached egg, come on now.
Although I was about to go into the difference.
It's fine, don't worry about it. What are these little birdies?
I am not a bird watcher, Tom. I do not know these types of things.
Okay, so the things that Richie knows. 1, Ghibli. 2, eggs. Birds no.
There are only certain birds that I would ever be able to definitely identify, i.e. robins, because they're quite easy to identify. Puffins are very easy to identify.
And cute.
Yeah, pigeons, seagulls, eagles. Well, it depends what type of eagle.
Owls.
Owls, they're always quite easy to identify. So there are certain types of birds, but when you get to those, no. I mean, part of me looks at it and think, is it a quail? But I don't even know if a quail looks like that. And they definitely don't.
Quail's eggs are like this mystical upper-class item that I've never seen, I probably will never partake of. God damn, that's a juicy-looking tomato.
Did you just say tomato, Tom?
Yes, I did.
It's a tomato, for God's sake.
I know, I just didn't want to draw attention to the fact that my name's Tom and I was talking about tomatoes.
Well, you can still say tomato rather than tomato. We don't live in America, goddamn you!
But I'm secretly Ash Ketchum from the very first series of Pokemon. Very intriguing. Are we talking about the Blood Mother here? Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked.
We're talking about the foster mother. We don't actually know who Anna's blood mother is.
I think I'm ready to make a guess, but maybe I need a few more bits of information first.
I think you definitely do. Because I'm pretty sure I know what your guess is going to be, and your guess was probably incorrect.
Oh, happier times.
And also, it's really sweet because it shows that while Yoriko is a massive worrywart and probably has instilled quite a few of the issues that Anna has in her,
Yeah.
she cares so much. And that's just really lovely.
Yeah. Alright, let's see if we can go find Marnie's TARDIS, which apparently is ruined one second and complete and bustling with life the next. I'm Guy on Bike. I'm uncredited. Goodbye. Goodbye! Seriously, this house is a rusemeister. I'm starting to think it's a boggart.
Well, I mean, it's certainly very wrecked at the minute. Really does need doing up, because it looked so lovely.
Yeah.
And this is why, whenever you go outside, you always take a coat. Even if it's sunny, you try and take a coat with you just in case.
But is Japan known for some changes in weather like that? Because here in the UK, it's like all bets are off whenever you step outside, but
I don't know, but I have the feeling because I think... let me just double check. But I think Japan has a sort of, it's a temperate climate. So it's effectively similar to the UK in that sense, but obviously it's a bit more extreme in terms of the fact that they do tend to get is it typhoons more? I think so. Yes, they tend to get typhoons, whereas we get storms.
Who's this then, Rich?
So this is Hisako, and she is voiced by Vanessa Williams, who is another person who's had a very, very long and storied career. That seems to be my go-to phrasing at present.
Yeah.
But she was the first African-American recipient of the Miss America title in when she was crowned Miss America 1984. She has been in Broadway and TV, so she was Wilhelmina Slater in Ugly Betty. She was in Desperate Housewives for at least a season as character Renee Perry, and she's been in numerous films.
I guess you got your wish, Rich. The house is being done up.
Yes, which is good, but that's just made it super awkward for Anna. And she just mentioned Marnie. This is important.
What pleasant builders. Very amiable.
Very amiable, and also very typical builders because they're on a lunch break.
So they're just moving in to this place.
Basically, yes. So, I don't know whether she's said her name yet, but this is Sayaka.
Staircase.
So Sayaka is voiced by Ava Akers, who I think is most well known for being young Regina in Once Upon a Time, also for being Katya Belyakov in an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., also playing the character of Madeline in Season 5 of American Horror Story, and as being young Rebecca in the comedy series Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
This is going places. Well, you know, I don't think anyone else has seen Marnie apart from the people at the party. Oh dear. Dark secrets are contained within, no doubt. What a smug child, but endearingly so.
Yes, it's that type of smugness that, yeah, it's just charming, and it's not her being an awful human being, it's just her thinking, I know who you are, don't try to lie to me, I'm gonna make you happy.
Alright, this is important, let's pay attention.
Very important.
Ooh, missing pages. Well, that looks like it's not a very battered diary, so Marnie couldn't have existed that long ago. But you have physical evidence in your hands, Anna.
Yeah. So she clearly isn't not real. Really, like, seriously. How many times does Anna need to say that her name is Anna?
Young Velma is not pleased with not being able to solve a mystery.
That is the mystery.
I love a good mystery, so this film, I don't think it'll get a super high grade, but it is ticking some of my preferred boxes right now.
I'd say, obviously, this is going a little bit further ahead, but I'd say it sort of sits around B plus B, around there. I feel.
Yeah. Like I said, I have a perceived score going in, and it can go up or down from there.
But yeah, we'll. I think it might go up for you when we reach the end of the film, because that's when it's going to go through its sort of biggest emotional peak. And I would say that it is very effective.
Marnie, are you a phantom? You just come out of nowhere. You are real. You can't hug things that aren't real.
Exactly.
I gotta say, usually there's a bit of tonal dissonance when you have a dub, and the dub voice doesn't seem to fit the character model in the way the original Japanese voice does. Marnie's voice actress is perfect. It's like they designed the character around that voice.
Oh, definitely. I think it's something that I think for Ghibli in general, they've always been pretty good at getting a voice that matches the character.
Uh-huh.
But definitely here they did a phenomenal job with it.
Oh, I wonder why. Is her spirit bound by a thing, I wonder?
Do we even know if she's a spirit?
Could be a lich for all we know. Run, Anna, run and don't look back!
Probably not a lich.
Hell yeah, time to get fucking crunk. What a lovely shot.
Definitely. Slightly ruined by you saying, let's go get crunk. Oh, don't you just love the way the light dapples on the ground? It's just beautiful.
Yeah. God rays, I believe is the term.
Yes.
Do you? Do you really?
Yeah, I think we're going to need to have a little talk, Hannah.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a very deep thing to discuss, honestly. The feeling of, like, guilt or blame.
Oh, yeah. And also, I think it's one of those things that you always do find with foster children and adopted children, because I think that there's always that sort of really complicated feeling of I've been abandoned by my parents and wanting to know who they were, or if you eventually find out that you were adopted, finding that out and then going, why does the people who I thought were my parents lie to me about that?
Yeah.
And it's a really complicated set of emotions, and there is never a right way to respond to it, I think. You can see that, yeah, this is the thing that doesn't make things better for Marnie. Anna, oh, for God's sake. But yeah, she finds documents saying that her foster parents are paid to look after her, which is generally how fostering works.
Yeah.
But still.
Well, they don't want to make you feel like a burden.
Also, it's the whole thing of they don't say it because they don't care.
Yeah.
She's their daughter as far as they're concerned. Yes, they get paid, and yes, that helps. But they want to look after her because they want to look after her. Like they would let her. They would have sent her to another family. Did they not want her?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Bit on the nose, but I'll accept it. I was searching for the right words there. I wanted to be as graceful as possible. How?
I don't know.
You do know, you lying shit.
I mean, actually, on this instance, I'm not quite sure the physics of all of this, but obviously I do know where we're heading with everything.
Oh my god, there's only half an hour left. That flew.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's something that really surprised me with when Marnie was there, because I went into it expecting to watch and just go, it was alright. But actually, it is just a really enjoyable film. I think a lot of that is down to Unpacking and his directing style. He's got a really good sense of pace and tone, and he manages to create films that are consistently enjoyable. Obviously, I haven't seen Mary and the Witch's Flower, so I can't say whether that has continued on. But of the Ghibli films that he created, both of them fit into that sort of same, just being really enjoyable category.
Well, they're just two sides of the same coin then. You know, like, Marnie has a full proper family, but it's not perfect, whereas Anna has unreal parents, and I'm using that just to juxtapose against Marnie. I don't mean that, I'm just trying to, like, make a point, but they love her unconditionally.
Yes, exactly.
Obviously, if you're a foster parent, good on you, because obviously, it's not easy taking someone who's not blood, but, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, Nan's being a pretty awful human being, and, the two maids are, well, basically the idea was to take her up to the silo and lock her there to, punish her for what she does. 'Cause, yeah, Nan and the two maids are awful human beings.
That's kind of shitty that Marnie thinks that's just regular behaviour.
Well, if that's all you've ever known, how do you know that it's not normal behaviour?
Very true, very true.
I think it's one of the things where you really, when you grow up, you really do take on the lessons of your parents, one way or the other, whether that is you follow your parents or you go directly against them.
Yeah.
It's because the way that they act around you presents you with what you will perceive as normal.
Yeah.
So if your parents are in an unhealthy relationship, then even if they end up staying together and it's all fine, the way their relationship works, you'll perceive that as how relationships are, and that's normal, even when it isn't necessarily the case. And obviously that can lead to slightly dangerous future relationships for you, because you are not necessarily going to understand when things are not quite right.
Yeah.
But that's just a difficult thing to get out of, and it's the reason why people who are subject to abuse and bullying and so forth do have just that slightly twisted worldview in terms of they think that's just how people are, and actually, most people are actually normal, nice human beings.
Very much so.
It's just that when people do that to you, that's how you automatically perceive people are going to be, and that's why so many people who go through that tend to shut themselves down and lock themselves away, because you don't feel like you can trust anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I certainly went through that whole locking the shutters. Still technically going through that now. I'm very open, a lot more open than I probably should be about a lot of stuff. But in terms of actually getting close to people, I am very very hesitant to ever get close to people, because whenever I have gotten close to people who I'd call my friends in the past, they always ended up hurting me or not being there when I needed them. And so that sort of then just kept the shutters there, and that's just how it works. Because, just to clarify, that's because I got bullied quite a lot when I was at school. I have brought it up before, I think.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it works.
I'll be sure to keep that in mind for the future, though.
Well, thankfully, you haven't actually... I don't think you've hurt me yet. I doubt you will. But... yeah, we good.
Alright. Well, that upset me more than the tale of Princess Kaguya.
Oh.
Let's just go back to the movie before I crow.
It's probably a good idea, yes. You see, this is what happens. I'm ever so slightly too open about a lot of stuff. But it's basically how you try to... Well, it's my way of trying to make it so that it's a subject that you can talk about. Because obviously there is always often a taboo about that sort of stuff. So people don't talk about it, and then nobody actually understands how things work. So, by talking about it, you allow people to understand, and that helps. But yeah, things are about to get slightly weird when Marnie was there, if they weren't already.
Now, I noticed that young Velma found the missing pages from the diary, was that right?
Yes, she did indeed.
Interesting. We're in the silo now.
Yeah, and they include passages about Kazuhiko and the abandoned silo, which is obviously where we are right now.
Oh. There's a very foreboding tone going on right now. Is there meant to be a kind of Rapunzel parallel, like with Marnie being locked in a tower and having blonde hair?
Perhaps. I'm not sure.
Whose coat is that? I only just realised.
I don't know. I mean, I do know, obviously. We're about to find out, but... But yeah, poor Marnie going through this.
Look how much Anna's grown just since the start of the movie.
Yeah, she actually is befriending someone. She actually sort of is beginning to open herself up.
So I forget, what was the point of them coming here to try and remove the fear of the silo?
That was effectively the idea behind going to the silo, to help her confront that fear. But obviously, doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah. Huh. An old grey-haired woman, you say? There we go. It was his coat, all along!
Yep, it was Kazuhiko's coat.
What a cruel thing to do to someone, literally locking them in a tower.
I know, it's awful. How did her parents not... Well, you do understand how her parents didn't know what was going on, but it's just like, my god.
Hmm.
What would they have done had they known what the Nan and the two maids were doing. Or would they have even cared?
Marnie, I really could have used that coat, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of awful out here.
Oh. We're getting there, we're slowly getting there.
Poor Anna.
Yeah. Alright, let's get the full backstory. Did we ever get a voice for Takeshi?
We didn't, and that's because I was waiting to find out who the hell his name was. But Takeshi is voiced by Mikey Kelly, who people would recognise as being Heatseeker in Transformers Robots in Disguise. He is also Silver Surfer in a variety of Marvel games.
Uh-huh.
He was also the voice of Michelangelo in the 2007 TMNT film.
Oh, the CGI one.
Yeah, the CGI one. So,
that.
He's also the voice of Alistair in Beautiful Joe and its sequel.
Nice.
And also, he was the original 2002 voice actor for Ratchet in Ratchet and Clank. But yeah, obviously all that time out in the rain really has done a number on Anna, and she's pretty feverish right now.
Yeah. Barney's got some explaining to do.
She does indeed.
That's never good.
Definitely not.
I thought she was going to forgive it instantly.
No, that wasn't going to happen, clearly.
Oh. Oh, thank God. Oh. I do feel like this is a movie that will benefit from a second watch just to fully grasp the whole thing, because I have kind of been going back and forth with how I feel about the film as we go through. But it's a film I've enjoyed. That much I do know.
Definitely, and we are about to find out the truth about Marnie. Got a teeny little bit to go, but we are about to find out the truth.
Just chilling. Look at the ocean. Or the lake, I guess. I'm bracing myself, Rich. I'm bracing. Subtitled it that time.
Well, that's because there's text there that is important.
H. Hisako.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed her and Anna have very prominent chins.
What, Hisako and Anna?
Yeah.
That's just a coincidence.
Okay, fair enough.
What isn't a coincidence is Hisako's link to Marnie.
I'm not, but go on.
I remember I wasn't. I definitely teared up when I first heard this.
Yeah, they were pretty crunk.
Hmm. Indeed it is.
Ah, good stuff. Where is this going? Second case of a sanatorium we've encountered in the Ghiblithon.
Mm-hmm. Although this time it's not a TB sanatorium, it's a psychiatric sanatorium.
Oh, you would, wouldn't you?
You would. But then how can you blame Marnie for that?
Oh. Jeez. Oh, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Christ. Yep. Emily is Anna's mother.
Mm-hmm.
So Marnie was Anna's grandmom.
She was indeed. And that's what's so heartbreaking. Also makes this whole thing slightly awkward because,
Yeah.
as I said with the Tumblr thing, the description for when Marnie was there was when Anna was accidentally gay for her grandmother.
Yeah, that is a big spoiler.
Yeah. Which does make it all a little bit awkward, but then, in a way, it sort of makes a lot of sense because the way Marnie was towards Anna was sort of how a grandmother would be. It's why she said, "My dear Marnie."
Oh, yeah.
And why she was incredibly close to her. And it sort of then explains why Anna dreamt about her, because she was her grandmother, and that's in the back of her head. She always knew that because she sort of had those residual memories from when she was a child, and that sort of then, yeah.
So was Anna just imagining things whenever she saw Marnie?
Effectively, yes. I think, anyway.
It leaves that ambiguous, I think.
Obviously, it was what Anna definitely needed.
Mm-hmm.
She now has a friend, and she's feeling so much better as a person. Finally, Toichi speaks.
Nicely done, Anna. Just as clumsy as the Frozen namesake.
Now, I have to say, I'm not sure that Anna actually has realised that Marnie is her grandmother yet, but she's certainly going to before the end of the film. It's kind of annoying that it doesn't happen when we realise that Marnie is her grandmother.
Uh-huh. As long as it doesn't end on a fucking, like, Looney Tunes wah-wah moment, I'm all good.
Yeah, but I think perhaps part of that reason is because what is going to happen now is Yoriko is finally going to tell the truth to Anna.
Okay.
And that is, I think, finally going to bring closure to Anna's search for who she is.
They seem like very good foster parents, I have to say.
Oh, God, yes.
Here we go. Dun-dun!
And there we go. Anna finally knows who Marnie is.
I was gay for my grandma, but dun-dun-dun. Credits.
So effectively what was happening throughout the film is that Marnie was seeing important moments. No, Anna was seeing important moments throughout Marnie's life.
Yeah.
Some of which were just small side characters in her story, and other moments she was filling in for Kazuhiko, and it just shows it was her way of connecting to her grandmother and reconnecting to her past.
Actually, I do kind of like that there was a bit of a delayed reaction. Feels more powerful here, following the reconciliation between her and her foster mother. The iconic pin.
Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing that's nice is that even though Marnie's story was not a happy one, the final result of it was a happy ending. Because her granddaughter realised that she was loved, she finally knows where she came from and can be happy. And that's just a wonderful thing.
So is this credits or do we have a stinger?
This is indeed credits, as Anna waves goodbye to the friends she met in town.
Yeah, she can just go rot right there, that's not a friend.
She can, but Anna's going to be a decent human being. No, you don't deserve that, you fat pig.
Just moments after saying Anna's being a decent human being. Okay, guys, that was when Marnie was there. I'm conflicted as to how I feel about the film.
Mm-hmm.
On the one hand, I feel the ending helps lock all the pieces into place and the film gels.
Mm-hmm.
On the other, it's one that I think needs a rewatch, and I didn't feel that about any of the other films. I got what they were going for the first time, but it's a very melancholy film. The cast is great. The story is very bittersweet. The characters are wonderful, apart from the one we bitched about, obviously. And it is one of the only Ghibli films that relies on a mystery to sell itself, so I don't think it will hold up on a rewatch. But I enjoyed it. I'm in two minds about how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see what you mean, like, maybe it got a bit of a bum deal following on from two super high-class films and being what was going to be the swan song of Ghibli. But it's a well-made film. I enjoyed it a lot, so I'm going to give it a B+.
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree with that and give it a B+, because it's charming, it's very melancholy, but it's a melancholy that works, and it's a film that you get to the end of and you just feel, I would say you feel satisfied because the mystery is solved. Anna has finally she's gotten better, and yeah, this is that beautiful, beautiful and heartbreaking Fine on the Outside song, which is just so gorgeous and so heartbreaking as well.
When Marnie was there, not Marnie is there.
Exactly.
Christ. Alright, mate, we're going to run through the films in the Ghiblithon. This might go over the thing, so don't worry if the timer disappears. It won't be needed anymore. As fast as you can. Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind, which I gave an A-, you gave a B.
It's a very enjoyable film. I think it's just elements of it not as polished as would go on to happen with later Ghibli films.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's very adventurous, it's exciting. But I feel a bit of the environmental message got lost in the clutter, as it were. Laputa, Castle in the Sky, which I gave a B plus and you gave an O.
Love a bit of Laputa. Charming film, very adventurous, great fun overall.
Yeah, the only thing that lets it down for me is the pacing in the middle of the film, where it goes, what seems like a climax? Kind of funny scenes with the pirates, but still, of the B pluses, it's one of the higher ones. Grave of the Fireflies, which we both gave an A plus. What else needs to be said?
Well, yes, exactly.
A sorrowful masterpiece, really.
Exactly, yeah. It's stunning and heartbreaking.
My Neighbor Totoro, which I gave a C plus and you gave an A, which I was very surprised by.
It's because it's a really, really charming little film, and I just love it.
Yep, I agree with that. Kiki's Delivery Service, I gave a B minus, you gave a C.
Yeah, it's a fun, enjoyable film. I think it's just... I don't know, there's just something about its story that doesn't sit right with me somewhere. Really not sure why, but there we go.
It's the message of it, I think. I got to use for more deliveries, but just nitpicking there. Only Yesterday, which we both gave a C.
Yeah.
I went into it, liking it. It bored me by the end.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Like, I can see where the critics of this day and age liked it from a critical perspective, but from just a watching perspective, it's just really dull, which is a shame.
Yeah. Porco Rosso, I gave it a B, you gave it a C.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Porco Rosso. I think it's the fact that it's a bit slow, and then also it's all about planes, but then its final... Well, it doesn't have that many flying sequences in it, all things considered, and then it ends with a fist fight, which is like, but I wanted more planes.
I get the thing they were going for, making him a pig, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. Great cast. Adventurous feel, much like with Nausicaa. Michael Keaton really is the star, obviously, and I would say he saves that from being a C. Ocean Waves, which I found to be a surprisingly enjoyable slice-of-life film, the only one in the Ghiblithon that was sub instead of dub. I gave that a B, you gave that a C.
Yeah, I think it's an okay little film. I think that the key problem that I have with it is that the love interest is just a bit of a bitch, which sort of makes it very difficult to then be heavily invested in that relationship, because it's just like, yeah, don't go with her, because she's clearly very manipulative, and it's clearly not going to be a healthy relationship, so run away from that one, thank you.
Indeed. Pompoko, which I gave a C and you gave a D.
Yeah, I really can't stand Pompoko. It's got crap plot, awful pacing, and just... blech.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. Whisper of the Heart, which I gave a B plus, you gave an A.
Love a bit of Whisper of the Heart. I think it's basically just that mixture of a love of literature, a love of writing, and also that cover of Country Road. Just love it.
Yeah, very much so, mate, very much so. Princess Mononoke, I gave it an A, you gave it an A plus.
Well, it's a classic of Ghibli, and that's really all that needs to be said.
Very much so. My Neighbours, the Yamadas, I gave it a B minus, as did you. Surprising, it didn't excel really in any area, but I was pleasantly surprised by the time the credits started to roll.
Yeah, it's a fun, quirky look at family life, which is very well done. It's just that because it is so vignette-y, it struggles to be that much of an easy watch, but I do love the Que Sera at the end, because that's just wonderful.
Spirited Away, which we both gave an A plus.
Yeah, that's just another Ghibli classic, and really, it's totally deserving of that, and totally deserving of the Oscar that it received.
Iconic, great cast, lush animation, fantastic music, complete package really. The Cat Returns, the spiritual successor to Whisper of the Heart, which I gave a B minus and you gave an A.
Yeah, that one's just also really enjoyable. It's nice because also it's on the shorter end of the spectrum in terms of Ghibli films, and it's just sort of just a rapid love of, well, a rapid adventure that just works really well and is just utterly charming.
Yeah, very much so. Howl's Moving Castle, which I gave an A, you gave an S.
Well, yeah, that's because it's my favourite Ghibli film, and I think it's because it's got phenomenal score, great characters. I love the story, and yeah, I'm just in love with House Moving Castle. And I think I always will be.
Tales from Earthsea, which I gave a D plus, you gave a C minus.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. As I said, it's very much the Black Cauldron for Ghibli, and in that sense, it's got a lot of problems which are very obvious and very plain, but I do manage to find some enjoyment out of it. And that's why it did get the C minus from me. But obviously, yes, it has a lot of problems.
Poor adaptation, boring. The main character isn't very likeable. The villain's stupid. I didn't really care for it. But Ponyo, which we both gave a C plus.
Yeah, Ponyo's fun. It's got great art style, a decent cast. It's just that there's a whole issue with its plot of not actually making much sense and just being so reliant on a love story between two 5-year-olds, which is just like, but you can't expect a 5-year-old to know what true love, like true romantic love is at that age. That's just ridiculous.
Arrietty, which was a surprising hit for me. I really enjoyed that. I don't think When Marnie Was There was as good a follow-up, but it's still a good film. Arrietty, I gave an A, and for the US dub, you gave it a B minus. For the UK dub, you gave it a B plus.
Yes, it's a really charming little film and thoroughly enjoyable. I just much prefer the UK dub. It's just, I think it's much more accurate to the original Japanese film, and also has got a load of brilliant actors in it.
From Up on Poppy Hill, which we both gave a B on the dot.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely Goro Miyazaki's best film of the two that he did for Ghibli, obviously by a landslide. And I think it's the whole thing to do with the clubhouse and all of that working together that is where that film's at its most charming.
Uh-huh.
The whole love story is one where you want it to succeed, but they get super awkward because they may or may not be brother and sister, and that just makes it really awkward. And it's sort of like, just didn't need that plot thread. You could have done just a much more normal story, and I think it would have been more effective.
Yeah. The Wind Rises. I gave it an A minus, you gave it an A.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very fitting for Miyazaki's swan song because it covers all of his major things that he loves. Flight, interesting love stories. It's got that sort of melancholy tone to it. It's all about making something beautiful. And deals with his very ardent pacifism. And yeah, I think it was just a very, very good farewell film for him. Obviously, it's now not his farewell film, but we'll see how the next one turns out.
Indeed. I just feel it was a bit meaty to give it more than an A minus, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. The Tale of Princess Kaguya, A plus from me, S from you. What else is there to say, really?
I know, it's an animated masterpiece, and even if it is a bit slow, it's just... all you need to do is just look at the art style and the animation itself, and you're just like, you know what? This is phenomenal.
Yeah. Finally, When Marnie Was There, I gave it a B plus, as did you. The only reason it didn't get higher, like with Arrietty, was because all the pieces fell into place, but it didn't click for me like Arrietty. I think that's because a lot of the mystery was ambiguous, and while I'm fine with that, I'm not one of those casuals who needs everything spelled out to me. I will do further research after the deed is done with the commentary. But I don't know, it left me conflicted, but I still really enjoyed it, just not to Arrietty's level.
Yeah, I think the thing with When Marnie Was There is it's a very charming, very enjoyable, bittersweet film. It's just one that I think perhaps does work better when you're not talking over it, because you sort of need to be in the moment of it to sort of be in that quiet, introspective mood for it to be at its most effective.
Yeah.
And when I first watched it, that's where I was. And so I think that's sort of part of what helps me appreciate it more than perhaps you have. And perhaps if you watched it again and you had that sort of quiet contemplation time, it might sit a bit better, perhaps. I don't know.
Very much so, very much so. That's the thing with commentary. Sometimes stuff might get lost in the muddle, whether it be the film or your understanding of the film. But don't think that I dislike When Marnie Was There. It's a very fine film, and you know, the director did good work. Him and Arrietty both. Well, When Marnie Was There and Arrietty both, I should say. He isn't a film. That'd be interesting, actually. A Ghibli documentary.
Well, I mean, they certainly exist. I think there is one about the making of the Tale of Princess Kaguya that exists somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it certainly exists.
If you find that, send it to me. Maybe we'll both watch it, who knows. But this is the end of the HellfireComms Ghiblithon, guys. I can't believe we've actually been able to pull this off, and very quickly, because, we should have started this sooner, and that's totally my fault. But anyway...
Yeah, definitely should have started it sooner, Tom.
I know, but Richard, we finally have our own thing, our own project that goes beyond LPs. Have you enjoyed the Ghiblithon?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's been really, really fun to go back through all the Ghibli films and sort of reassess how I feel about them. I mean, pretty much consistently, my initial thoughts about them have remained the same, but it has just been nice to go through and confirm whether that's going to be the case, and also just to have a look at some of the more behind-the-scenes stuff that I perhaps didn't know at the time when I first watched them, and yeah, it's just been really fun. So yeah, thank you for having me along for this.
Hey, thank you for pulling it off, mate. You did most of the work here. But yeah, that'll do us for the Ghiblithon, guys. But we're not done in terms of movie con marathons in general, so please join us in 2018, most likely in December, because that's when we like to do these things, for Disneyfon 3, which is now in the planning processes. And if you've got any suggestions for films you want us to cover, leave them down below. Who knows, maybe they'll end up on the set list. But once again, I've been NTom64.
And I have been XGamerRichy.
And thank you, especially if you stuck throughout the entirety of the Ghiblithon, for watching the HFC Ghiblithon. Goodbye.